running been, Debo?
Been good. Getting a feel for everything, offensively, defensively. With the attention, the detail, been there, focus, the competitiveness. Everything been great.
What kind of stands out, I guess, for you for these first few days in comparison to what you experienced last year?
I mean, just being able to start from ground zero and not having to worry about trying to figure out stuff and still going out there playing in the same token, especially once Doug took over and just changing up so much stuff on the go. Now we could just the mistakes we do make, we can come in the next day, correct them, understand what we did wrong. What's expected. You get a feel for every single guy. You're learning things, tendencies, certain habits, building great habits, but I don't have to worry about mid-season things. So that's one thing that definitely stands out.
Do you feel in your experience and even having a little bit of that experience with Doug already, do you kind of already know what to expect, or do you think there's a lot that kind of be?
Yeah, you definitely know what to expect. But now, like I said, you can kind of just hone in and focus on his expectations, and what he want, how he want it, and could drill it out, could talk it out. Got time to work on it. This second day at camp, it's still so much stuff we still need to cover.
Does the focus on the things that Doug is saying right now, is it maybe a little bit easier to do coming into a new season with a full training camp versus, trying to use to say fix the plane in the air last season?
Yeah, I mean it's a lot easier. You can kind of just start from a blank canvas. But also the guys that was here understanding what he wanted when he was here, so we kind of got some insight. But for the most part, just being able to start fresh, that's a major part for us.
Those expectations that he has, especially with wanting to be one of the most conditioned teams in the league, how does that kind of settle with you guys?
I mean, you should be. You know what I mean? Just even before it's being asked of you, understanding, if you want to play big minutes, if you want to be reliable out there on the court, you got to be in the best shape. Whenever your name is called, or if you're a starter, whatever it may be, you got to be in the best shape, especially competing this West. It's no joke. Every single night is a track meet, so we got to be ready for it.
Are there things you're seeing from Doug in terms of his growth as a young and new, relatively new coach?
I mean, it's when you a player and you played in the league so long, you have the knowledge even before coaching that Doug had. It just makes the transition even easier from my point of view. I think he got it. He understands the game. He understands it from a player perspective. Also, the way he coaches, you can tell you would think he was a 4-year coach out of college before he came here. And that just says a lot how much attention and detail he pays.
When you referred to the internal stuff the other day that you guys had to deal with, what was the most troubling aspect of that for you guys as a group?
I mean, just the unknowing, just the unknowing. We didn't know if it was going to be a trade. Best player that was here ended up getting traded. You make a shift with that. Make a shift with bringing in new players. Losing guys. Coaches. It was just a lot of stuff that just was going on that usually don't happen. I mean, since I've been in the league, I've never had a season internally like that where you have to just figure out stuff on the go every single moment. You had certain coaches leave middle of the season, take jobs elsewhere. It's just a lot. And it's, when you come to a job, you expect to finish that job with everybody that's there, and when that didn't happen, it kind of just threw a wrench in the whole thing. You got to figure out things on the go.
I know it's never new for you, but when you're asked to play a bigger position, be it we've seen center at times, but mainly maybe a power forward or something like that. What kind of challenge is that to you and kind of the evolution of your game?
I mean, it's really no challenge. I mean, 1 through 4 in this league, you got to be able to be versatile as it is. As long as I'm not going out there guarding Jokic or, Embiid, that's when I think you really run into the problem. But for the most part, our league is so versatile, 1 through 4. You got to be able to do everything. Bring up the ball, score, post, guard the wing, play in the transition. So, to me, it's just adapting with the times.
You mentioned how much work you put in this offseason. How much do you think that's prepared you for like what you guys want to do, like pressure defensively and play with pace?
I mean, I just want to be ready for whatever was asked, for me, so I could be able to go out there and do that. Even before what was asked of us as a team, I just want to fully prepare myself as best as I could, so I could be ready for the season and do even more for my part, whatever that may be, to make sure we pull out these games.
Do you
Keegan's
feel
been challenged to be more aggressive. Doug talked about him hunting shots more. Over the last year that you've worked with him, has he picked your brain on how to be more aggressive without going over the top?
I mean, yeah, we all know Keegan, the quiet type, but this time around he's definitely been more vocal. The key component to our success is Keegan on both ends of the ball, offensively and defensively. We won't be able to go nowhere if we don't get the best out of him every single night. We make sure we do our best to make sure he's capable to do that every single night. So from his standpoint, he's ready. He's been aggressive, and most importantly, he's just been more talkative than ever. So that alone is going to carry everything else along.
Do you anticipate playing kind of the same role that you did last year in terms of how much they would rely on you as much as they did?
I'm just ready for whatever. I never really have a set anything in my mind. I just be ready and prepared for whatever. I'm a competitor. When I go out there and play, I'm playing. I try to play every single game. I want to be out there as much as possible, so that's always been my mindset.
You talk about a blank slate and starting from scratch. Does that mean that the offense is new compared to what it was last year? How would you compare?
I wouldn't say it's necessarily new. It's still the same a lot of wrinkles, but more so understanding the options out of more, being able to not necessarily think. Read the game more. I think last year we was trying to do too much too fast at times instead of reading the game, reading the options that we had. So now having the comfort of understanding, how Doug wants us to be able to play off these actions, with the personnel that we have, to everybody's strengths, so we could be as efficient as possible when we do run that. I think that's more so the key thing about it. We got a couple wrinkles here and there that's new, but for the main part, it's kind of a lot of the same stuff.
Thanks, Devo.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
Good job.
Thank you.
At your basketball camp this summer, you shared that you invited Maxime and IJ over to your house. How have you seen, specifically with Maxime these first 2 days, how much have you gotten to work with him, and what have you seen?
It's great. Today he had a behind the back left-hand pass off the press, so something paid off. No, but they're working hard. Today we implemented some more offensive things, and it's working.
Offensive scheme-wise, they say they're going to move you around a little bit more and not be in the same dunker spot you were this past year. Like, how is that going to maybe open up the offense a little bit more and maybe defense be able to be more options?
It lets me to do what I do on offense, getting guys open frequently instead of being under the rim and undersized big. Can't do as much as I do out on the perimeter.
So you're comfortable with what the
Oh yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. Elaborate on that if you could. What you think?
I just like the pick and roll stuff now. On the wing, I can either shoot, drive, get into more stuff. Whereas when the guards are doing that, I'd be in the dunker. Not really a threat down there, And now teams are going to have to respect me out, not only just creating and just being aggressive too.
Doug has talked about in his time as a player when he played for Rick, how Rick would take player opinions into account and allow you guys to do what you do. Since the relationship you have with Doug, are you able to suggest things, and is he open to suggestions?
Oh yeah, of course. We talk every day after practice, and I believe everyone does. You have that relationship with everyone, and we can talk straight away, and he'll listen.
Any concerns you might have had maybe before coming into camp? I don't know if you identify them, but what do you look for maybe in this first few weeks?
Just playing together, moving the ball. We have a lot of offense and talent, but with Dennis now being able to move the ball and start the domino effect, I feel like it's going to bring out the best out of a lot of guys.
What are the keys to this season? It sounds like this season there isn't maybe a ton of new things that you guys are trying to implement, but having the full training camp and the off season to really work on these things rather than trying to do it mid-season after a change. How valuable is that to you guys?
It's big. We got to finally practice it with real reps, and we got to go at it against each other. Talk it through, and I feel rush, or during the season it's tough. You don't want to get in our legs either.
Segundo año con el nuevo entrenador, ¿hace las cosas más fáciles?
Sí, por supuesto. Doug está a tope este año y está trabajando duro este verano.
How's the
Good conditioning's good. They told us early on, so some guys are ready. So
Have you been running?
I'm ready. Yeah.
Domas, one of the focuses this season is trying to get Keegan a little bit more part of the offense. How is that going, and how do you guys take that on as teammates?
We haven't really talked about that yet. We're just it's only day 2. We're just trying to get the offense going. But like I said before, with Dennis starting the domino effect, the ball is going to go around everyone. And one day it's going to be you, one day it's going to be another player, and I feel like that's going to be it's going to look like this year.
I know it's still early, but if someone asks you, what's the major difference from last training camp to this one, what would you identify?
I don't even know. This year it's been very strict. Scott and Doug have really implemented their rules and their values, and it reminds me back when I was a rookie.
Do you like having a team be an extension of a head coach?
Yeah, I like it. There's a discipline, there's accountability. It's something that this place needs, and I'm excited.
You and Malik Monk have an incredible pick and roll connection and chemistry. What goes into trying to build that same chemistry with Dennis Schroeder?
Just reps throughout the year. We're going into our 4th year, 3rd year together, and it's when a player knows how to play the pick and roll, it's kind of natural. You don't really got to work on it. You might see something, you might tell him something once, and he quickly picks it up.
There's a lot of curiosity about the backup point guard spot, but being a playmaker, are the coaching staff leaning on you a lot to also help whatever that playmaking is?
Doug wants me to be basically me, and just he's going to change some things so I can be more effective in other areas. And we haven't really got into the second unit or me playing with other units yet, but I hope that.
You just said camp, it's been more strict. What do you mean by that? And do you have kind of an example of how they're
I mean, just everything, very, very, very professional, and I don't know how to explain it, without saying other things from the past. It's okay. I don't want to get into that.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay, what's the date again?
Date today? October 14th. 14th, yes. Let's go.
It seems there's been a kind of a common theme that it's been useful to have a full off season and like a full normal training camp to implement the things that you're wanting to do versus having to do it in the mid-season. Do you feel the same way that you really get a full opportunity here to implement what you want?
Yeah, I think always when you have the ability to have a training camp, when you can talk about the different principles and the identity and all those different things, and then they really understand, because halfway through, you're really trying to simplify, to be honest with you, shave things down and make sure that you can start down the path that you want to go on. Here, you get to do it from the summertime all the way through training camp and into the season.
You've shared before how Rick would take your comments and your teammates' comments into account with ideas that you had. Domas to share that you and your staff have been very open to them and their commentary so far. How does that feedback, I guess, mean to you, and how much do you enjoy that feedback from each other?
Well, one thing that I want them to understand is they have a voice. Like, I got this from Mike T, is you don't care where good ideas come from. You know what I'm saying? What we want is we want good ideas. So that doesn't mean everything that they say, because I was a player. So you're not listening to everything. But the point is, they're out there on the floor. And I've told them many times, like, listen, when I was out on the floor and we had a coverage, but I can feel that it's not about the work. I'm out there doing it. So do I want to hear from them? And when we do, normally you own that. So if you're going to say, hey, I want to do it this way, and they're all in agreement, then now you own that. And so just the open communication, the ability and willingness to let them know that this is a safe place, and we're here to win and try to make sure that we're being better every day. And part of that starts with the communication and the trust within our circle of each other.
Zach said yesterday that it feels like you get a little bit more comfortable as a head coach with the support staff you had last year, a little bit looking over your shoulder a little bit of who was behind you and wanting to support you. Do you feel like because of the guys that you have in now, do you feel like you could do a little bit better better as a head coach this year?
I mean, yeah, I can, I trust all these guys. Some of them getting to work with for the first time, but, to have people that you trust and you work with, I think in this position is huge. One thing that I know is we got diversity of thought and unity of purpose and direction. Like that's what it is. When we're up there, do we always agree? No. But when we come down here, we got one thing that is on everyone's mind. That's improving the players and making sure that they're good. And listen, when we're in there and we don't agree, that's okay. Like I don't want yes men. I want people that want to be good and that want to be great and try to push us to be the best versions of ourselves, not only as coaches but as players and as a team.
Doug, you spent time with Mike Tomlin and Corey Messina over the summer. What was that experience like, and what did you gain from that time you spent?
More than anything, just watching true professionals work their craft, and I aspire to be the best at what I do. So I'm going to go and continue to I learn all the time. I learn and hear from these guys every day, but just the openness of Mike Tomlin and Ed Ray to allow me to come in and view what they do and sit and have community and brotherhood and just talk about the game. And sometimes it wasn't just talking about the game. It was talking about life, but life is talking about the game. So it was an honor to go and be able to sit with both of them.
Anybody dealing with any injuries or limitations at this point in camp?
I think everybody is in a pretty good spot. You got your normal bumps and bruises, nothing that's huge in my estimation, but I'm not the one doing it. I'm the one coaching it and watching it. So yeah, there's some bumps and bruises, but nothing big.
And you've talked about some new wrinkles, little changes in the offense. We know how much you loved the Princeton stuff you guys ran back in the day. Are there any elements of that you want to incorporate here?
I love splits. I love, obviously we have a guy in Domas that plays very similar in some aspects to Webb and Blade, meaning that he can make plays from the elbow and the post. So, we're going to play through that and allow him to make plays. And that's where you teach people how to play and not run a play. So you can be in an action that allows for splits, but when that moment comes, you don't know what you're going to get. You got to be able to read the defense. As Coach Carrill would always tell me, watch the guy in front of you, he'll tell you what to do.
How long does it take for the read and react to really kind of figure itself out on the court?
It's a tough one, man, because like you get in here and you're doing it, you're learning it. And then you start playing against your teammate and you got to make sure iron sharpens iron. You can't play buddy ball. But then you get in the game and all of a sudden the reads become real, and that's up to us to continuously coach them, put them in 2v1 situations where all of a sudden, are you making the right read? Are you doing the right thing? Did you do it with the right timing? Did you run into the screen? Did you walk into the screen and bust out of the screen? There are like a lot of different ways that you can do it, but it's one of those things that takes time and how much thought, we're watching film, how much you want to put into it to make sure that we want to be really good at what we do, and it does take time, but at the same time you do it. And my message to them was yesterday is you got to be brave. We're not looking for perfection. Perfection will make you apprehensive and a lot of different things. Just go into it and let the failures teach us.
What are the things that maybe the toughest things for you in these early days? Any hurdles that you have to overcome?
Just the process of it, just daily, it's always going to be something different. One thing, everything lands on my desk. So, it might not even be about basketball. It would be something that you guys never even see, but it might slow the process up. So that's where the assistant coach is like, trust them. Hey, I'll be in there in a second. You guys go ahead and handle that. And then watching that they're able to do that, and they've done it at a really high level. So it's not any one thing. It's kind of the process of everything, because it's the first training camp as a head coach. So when you go through that, every day is something new for sure.
You said you want to be a get-in-your-face type team. I know these guys are teammates, but how much does that need to start now in training camp amongst teammates before you actually bring an opponent in next week?
Yeah, if you're not willing to do it to your teammate, I don't know how you're going to be willing to do it to opponents. So that's part of what we're trying to do is iron sharpens iron. So we have to get at each other in an uncomfortable way. And then that teaches you who's in your foxhole, who you're dealing with, so that when you do get in the game, you are prepared for that. You know, we want practice to be difficult and the games to be, the show that people come to see.
Doug, you have a lot of guards on this team, not a lot of like true 3s and 4s. How do you scheme and game plan for that?
You know, like in our game today, if you look back at the finals, was there a true 4 on the court? Sometimes there was, but it's basketball players, man. Everybody is positionless basketball. So it would, do you want a guy that's this size and this style and all, like, whatever. Like, we need to go out and play. So we're going to have people on the floor, and they're playing in a position. Are they playing, quote unquote, out of position? They're basketball players, man. And what we want to do is we want to play advantage basketball, take advantage of whatever situation we're in. Everyone has deficiencies. Every team does. There's not a perfect team out there. So I get your question, but to be honest, it's just we're teaching our guys how to play. When they get out there, you play your position, whatever position that is.
Coach, how much, whether it be a three-pointer or a 12-foot shot, with Domas confidently stepping into those, how much does that open up the offense for you?
I guess what you're saying is, like, I want him to shoot when he's open. But he's got, it's a confidence thing. I've been there before. Some days you feel better than others, but the one thing that plays into that for him is he has an incredible skill set that he can put the ball on the deck. He can be, the conduit between players where he can uphill DHO, and maybe he's not feeling it right now, so now he finds himself in the pocket and he's downhill. He gets to the line, he knocks down a free throw, now he's feeling better. But if he's open, I want him to shoot the basketball, because once he's knocking them down, it changes the complexion of the entire offense, and all of a sudden the big has to come out, he has to help. Now things just change all the way around the board.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you, guys.